Hi, my Kangaroo Island Short Course Group. I'm creating these resources, these videos to help you focus some of the skills you may need for doing the assessment. So let me walk you through some of these skills. So firstly, let's launch Excel. And if you don't have Excel on your desktop, you can click on the Start button, go to the scroll down the All Programs list, and it's usually in alphabetical order, and it's inside of Microsoft Office 2013. It's the green icon, so the Excel 2013 is the one I've got on this computer, so I'm going to use that. But this, like I said during the course, the skills in 2013 and 2016 are very, very similar. I'm going to create a blank workbook as a work area, and I'm going to make it full screen. So if you're not sure about some of these things, if you remember, this is what we call the different tabs. Okay, right now I'm on the Home tab, which gives me a whole heap of different tools on this area, which is what we call the ribbon. So if I can actually click on the various tabs, so I can expose more of the tools on the different tools I can do according to the different tabs. So we'll stick with the Home for now. So first of all, let's actually save this file. Okay, so if we want to save a file, we'll go to the File tab up here. And being a new file, I'm going to save this as a brand new file. So I'm going to click Save As. And obviously, I can save it to many areas, including this computer. But obviously, as with all our Office applications now, we can actually use what's called the SkyDrive or cloud storage. Okay, in this case, OneDrive. So we didn't do this during the class. But yeah, if you had a OneDrive or a SkyDrive, you could actually connect this now and actually save to it. So for example, I would choose my TAFE OneDrive. I can click Browse, and it will actually behind the scenes sign into my OneDrive. And after that, it will actually allow me to go to the file system that's on my cloud storage, OneDrive. For example, if I want to create a new folder here, I can actually just right click in this area, new folder, and we'll call this Excel Training Videos. And we'll actually put our new workbook in there. So I double click to navigate inside that folder. If you're not going to save it onto SkyDrive, at this point you can actually just browse to a local part of your computer. Okay, for example, I can click on this computer at this stage, or I can just cancel and click Browse again. I can actually then click on my browse to where I want to put it. In our activities during our course, we were putting everything on our desktop, and that can be very full. But today we'll actually put it on the desktop as well. So again, I can right click in this blank area and I can choose to create a new folder, and we'll call it Excel Training again. Training video. So we'll double click into it so we could go inside the folder, and I'm going to call this a file name. Okay, so the file name I might call this might be Alex assignment example A. Okay, so the XLSX is what we call a file extension, and that identifies that this file will be opened by the Excel program. So I'm going to click Save, and I'll have this blank worksheet. Okay, so right now we might actually enter some data. Okay, to enter the data, you need to just select the cell you want. For example, if I select B2, I might actually zoom in a little bit so we're not looking at too much of the screen. I'll select B2, and I'll to actually enter data, once I've selected B2, I can just start typing. Okay, for example, we might look at profit and loss. We might do. We might instead of so we might make this a cafe, and we'll enter this text. Okay, so we can enter a few other things like some titles of our different data. So in this case, we might be selling various items in our cafe, and obviously those various items has what's called a cost price. So how much we would get these items for if before we sell it, and then a sale price, which is how much we would sell the items for to our customers to get to actually make a profit. And obviously we want to track how many items we sell, and finally we want to actually work out. So you can see that this one, this particular text doesn't actually fit into the same text box. So I might actually use my increase my column width, and if I didn't care how wide it was, I could just move my cursor to the line in between E and F in this case, and I could just see my cursor change from a plus to that double-sided arrow with a line in the middle icon, and I can double click on this and automatically increase the width to fit the content of that cell. And finally, I want to work out the profit. Okay, so what items do I have? I have coffees, I have tea, I have cakes. Okay, so if I give myself a price, coffees will be $5 each, tea will be $4 each, and cakes will be, let's make a very expensive cake, $12. And obviously, what is my sale price? I might be getting these coffees at $5 per coffee. That's how much it cost me to actually get the product in my shop. And when I'm selling it, I might sell it for $7.50. You can tell that right now these numbers do not look like currency. Okay, we'll talk about formatting the data type a little bit later. Tea, I'm going to sell it for $6, and cakes, I'm going to sell it for $20. Okay, these prices are not very realistic in real life, but let's actually just stick with this. So coffees, this morning I've sold 3 coffees and 7 teas, and even though the cakes are $20 each, I've actually managed to sell 4 of them. And right now we're not going to work out the profit because we're going to do that a little bit later. We also want to actually work out the totals of how much we spent on each of the sections. So totals. Okay, so again, we're not going to work out the totals right now because that's something that's going to come up a little bit later. So right now, I'm going to change the formatting a little bit so that it actually looks the way I want it to look. Okay. So before that, there's one more thing. I want to put a date here. So today's date is the 29th of 2017. And again, I'm going to put it there. But these things don't look exactly how I want them to look. So I'm going to change it a little bit to suit what I want. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to change all the fonts on this page to be something else. Okay, right now you can see that it's actually Calibri is the font type. So if I want to change all the fonts, I could actually select the whole spreadsheet by clicking on this corner. I can press Control A to select all the cells I've actually used. or click somewhere else and press Control A and select the whole sheet again. Or I could just manually, using my cursor, drag my cursor around and select all the sections I want to format. Okay, so I'm going to change my format. So Calibri is what it's set to right now by default. I'm going to change it to Arial. Okay, Arial is what I prefer to use. All right. Secondly, I want to change the size of it. Okay, so for example, this is my big title, and it's the same size as everything else. So I might want to change the font size. So again, instead of changing it for all of it, I'm going to change it for just this cell. So I select just this cell, and I actually go to this font size drop down menu from the Home tab, font group, and I'm going to change it to be, or let's make it 24. Okay. Maybe it's a little bit too big, so maybe I'll make it 20. You can see that 20 actually fits pretty well here, but you can see that these are still made up of separate cells. And to be honest, the profit and loss dash cafe is only stored into the B2 cell. So really, I could have other data in these other cells, and that's not exactly what I want. So what I can do now is I can actually merge these cells. So I can actually select all the cells that encompasses this area I want to make into a title, and I can use this merge and center tool if I actually want to merge and center it. So what does that mean? That means I turn all those 4 cells I've highlighted into one big cell, and the whole cell is going to be referred to as B2. All right, but we also notice that some of our other things don't fit very well now. So again, we can use our width adjustment tool by actually going to the column that actually is not right. So, but instead of making them different widths like I did before, which doesn't look very uniform now, does it? So maybe I want to set them to be a specific width. Okay, so I can actually go to the column headings and wait until my cursor change and to that double-headed arrow with a line in the middle, and I can actually drag it. You can see there's a column width that's displayed is 8.3 or 64 pixels. I'm going to drag it to maybe to be about 12, and let's see if 12 will do it here. And again 12 here. And it's 13 this one, so maybe I need to make it all 13. All right, so I'll adjust these ones to 13. I'll leave this one adjusted to 13 as well, and this F I'll adjust to 13 as well. So I'll zoom out again so I can see a little bit better. So if you're wondering how I was doing the zoom, I've got a mouse. I can press the control button on my keyboard and use the scroll wheel to actually zoom in by scrolling up, or zoom out by scrolling out. So this basically allows me to see what I'm doing in a more in a way I want to see it. Okay, the size I want to see it. All right, what I notice is I don't really like this centered. So right now it's actually centered. Remember, we merged and centered this. Okay, so we merged it. That's what we want, but I don't really like it centered. So maybe I can change the alignments. So I can go to my Home tab, Alignment group, and I can use these tools to align. Okay, for example, I can go left align, which will put it all on the left, or right align, which will put it in the right, center. And out of the 3, maybe I'll prefer left align. Okay, just my personal choice. So this is font size 20, and these now are font size 11. Okay, I might want to, if I wanted to, I want to change the headings a little bit bigger. Okay, so I might choose these headings and I want to make them just a little bit bigger. So I can use this increase font size icon as well to adjust the font size a little bit at a time until I get the right fit. Okay, so I think maybe just 12 is okay. But again, now my title doesn't fit properly here. Okay, so we might actually, for simplicity, I might actually, instead of actually putting numbers, I might just shorten this a little bit to use a sort of a little bit of abbreviation to make it fit a little bit better. And this totals down here, I want to make a little bit bigger, so I might just change that to 12. Okay, and I want to. It just doesn't stand out, these headings. So what I might want to do is might want to make it bold. So I'm going to make these things bold. I'll select what I want bold, and in fact, what you could do is you can actually select by dragging and selecting like that. And if there's many areas I want to do the same thing with, I can actually press the Control key on the keyboard and then select other cells I also want to include, even though they're not directly next to each other or connected. So now I've selected 3 different areas of the spreadsheet, and now I can click the bold tool here in the fonts group of the home tab, and it'll make them all bold. Okay, I think this date could be even bold as well. All right. So now it still doesn't seem right for me. Okay, so what I might want to do is I might want to actually add a little bit more to my presentation. I might just actually shade some of this to make it stand out a little bit more. Okay, so I might actually I'll select this, and I might actually shade this my blue. I might shade these sections blue as well. So you notice I use the Control Select as well, again, to select multiple sections. So that seems to highlight the important areas or the headings a little bit more. But now that I made it blue, the black doesn't seem to stand out too much. So maybe I want to change the font color. So again, I'll select the different sections I want to apply these changes to, and I might want to go to my font color tool, which is on my font group on my home tab, and I'll select the color I want. Whoa, that stands out pretty well. I might choose something else. Okay, don't criticize my design skills. I'm no designer, that's for sure. So, but to me, yeah, blue and white for seaside cafe maybe might be a good color scheme.